His words carved themselves into me like fire. Graduation dinner was supposed to be the night my years of struggle were honored, the moment my family lifted me up. My cap and gown were still folded in the backseat of my old car, smelling faintly of sweat and rain. My future should have felt wide, full of hope. Instead, my father leaned back in his chair, chuckled and said, "Well, you're grown now. Pay rent or get out." The table roared with laughter. Even my mother hid her smirk behind her wineglass. My siblings stared at me like vultures watching something about to die. I didn't flinch. Chewed. I swallowed. And inside I made a vow so sharp it could cut through bone. It wasn't the first time they'd turned me into their scapegoat. Since I was 12, every paycheck, every scholarship, every babysitting shift and late-night job had been stolen to keep the lights on and the water running. They told me it was teaching responsibility, but responsibility became shackles. My life was poured into their gas tanks, their grocery carts, their mortgage. I told myself family meant sacrifice, that one day they'd see me not as their crutch but as their child. But sitting there, humiliated in front of them all, I realized I had never been their daughter. I had been their wallet. So while they laughed, I planned. That night, I packed my bags in silence. They thought I was heading for another shift, another night of sacrifice. But I had been preparing for years. Every uncounted scholarship, every dollar from side hustles, every stipend, I had hidden them away like jewels. And months before graduation, while they still drained me dry, I signed the papers they never dreamed I could sign. My house, mine alone, paid in full. The next morning, I stood in the living room doorway with my suitcase. Dad slouched on the couch, scrolling his phone, belly spilling over his shorts. Mom, already in the kitchen, asked casually if I could make the grocery run. I said nothing at first. Then I lifted the suitcase. Mom frowned. "Where are you going?" Dad smirked. "Finally growing up, huh?" I met his gaze, steady, cold. "Yes. And since I'm grown, I won't be paying your bills anymore. Not the power. Not the mortgage. Not the insurance. Nothing." At first, Dad laughed again, dismissive, until the truth set in. His jaw tightened. He knew the electric bill wasn't in his name. He knew the internet came through my account. Half the mortgage had come from my paychecks. The car insurance keeping them on the road. Mom's fingers clutched the counter like she was falling. You can't just stop," she whispered. "I can," I said softly. "And I already have." I walked out, packed the last suitcase into my trunk. And 9 streets away, I unlocked the door to a home with only my name on the deed. Hardwood floors, quiet porch, keys heavy with freedom. For the first time in years, the air I breathed was mine. But revenge isn't the house. Revenge is patience. I waited while their bills piled high, while their calls shifted from mocking to desperate. My father's voicemails slurred with beer. My mother's texts came frantic, begging. "Where are you? The bank is calling. The lights are out." I stayed silent until I was ready. And when I finally invited them over, they stepped into the glow of my house. Mom froze at the sight of stainless steel, comb-painted walls, everything she once said I'd never have. You bought this," she stammered. I looked her dead in the eyes. "Yes. With the money you never noticed." Dad scanned the walls like a predator searching for weakness, but there was none. I poured myself a glass of water, slow, deliberate. "You told me to grow up," I said. "So I did. I don't need you. But you needed me all along." That was the breaking point. Mom's scream cracked like glass. Not anger but fear. Dad's shoulders sank, hollow, like a man watching the empire he built crumble into dust. I didn't shout. I didn't gloat. I just stood there, calm and steady, while their world collapsed around them. Because silence isn't weakness. Silence is strategy. And that night, silence was my revenge.